Hi guys, I bet you're wondering what's going on here. Come back, I'll explain. All right, welcome back. I had a great question from one of my students, Don Dowd, and his question was for me to help him understand how the hips actually function or what they actually do in the golf swing. And I think before we can even go into the mechanics of the hips or whatever in the golf swing, we have to understand what they look like at address. So when we set up, okay, and guys, what I've got here is I've got a alignment rod through a couple belt loops here, and it would be really good if you can get in front of a mirror or a sliding glass door where you can see your reflection, because this will tell you whether or not where your hips are and how they're set up at address, because that's going to set the stage for how the hips actually function throughout the golf swing. So what you want to do is make sure this is kind of level, and then get into your posture. And now what I see a lot of times is I see the trail hip hiked up more this way than not. And that's just the opposite of what we want to feel. Now with our irons, we're going to feel a little bit more weight toward our lead side, okay, at address. But I still want to feel like my lead hip is up just a little bit, okay? With our driver, we're going to feel a little bit more weight back here, but I'm still going to feel my lead hip up. Now why do I want that? Well, when we set up with this bumped up just a little bit, that's going to help us get turned efficiently over this golf ball, okay? Now, as we make our turn, okay, what do the hips do, all right? Well, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see you try to make sure that we keep these hips as level as we can. It's going to come up a little bit, okay, but we're going to try to keep them as level as we can to the top, all right? So, in the setup, we're going to have just a little bit of lead hip up. That's going to help us get to the top of our backswing. Let's take a look at a couple tour players on address and watch them in the swing, and let's talk about what their hips do.
All right, I have Adam Scott and Tiger Woods here. Two very wonderful swings. Let's take a look at Tiger first. So I've got some lines drawn around his hip area, and again, what we want to feel is we want to feel that our hips are staying absolutely in the center but turning. So you can see here at the top of Tiger's backswing, he's got a more than 90-degree shoulder turn, and his hips, we're going to call it somewhere around 45. So there's a lot more stability on the bottom, but he's still allowing the hips to turn. The same way with Adam here. As we take him to the top now, you're going to see again the upper body's turning first, and then the lower body or the hips start to engage, okay? So here we are at the top with Adam. So you can see how much he's setting back into that back hip, his right hip. Same with Tiger. Now, what we want to feel here now is we want to feel on the downswing, we want to feel a little weight shift or bump. So we're going to get Tiger going. So you can see here he's shifting his weight. And again, that starts from the ground up, guys, okay? But we're looking at the hips, so we're going to see the hips moving into that line before they start to release or turn, okay? So I'm going to bring him down to delivery. And the same with Adam here. So we're going to get Adam going. Notice our heads are very steady. Now he's going to start with a little weight shift. There you go. So we got a little bump first. Okay, see that little bump? So we're shifting, and now they start to rotate. So when he gets down to impact, you're going to see this a lot better with Adam here than you would with Tiger. But as he gets down to impact, you can see how his hips are opening up more there. And his shoulders are open just a little bit, okay? So when you look at the difference between the backswing and the downswing, the top of the backswing, the shoulders are turned a lot more than the hips, but on the downswing, we've got the hips maintaining stability in the center, going to the top with a shift and a rotation, allowing those hips to get open more and allowing the club to swing through with more ease.
All right, so we looked at a couple tour players and talked about the functionality of their hips in the golf swing. Now again, that's just a small portion of the body, right? Going to the top, we have to control what we're doing with our hips. I like to think of the hips as the center of the swing in the pivot. So we don't want the center moving a lot off. We just want it to stay in one spot and turn inside of it. I think Mr. Hogan said it was like turning inside of a barrel, okay? So how are we going to feel that? Well, I got this from a great instructor by the name of Martin Chuck. Great job, Martin. This is awesome. And all I'm going to use is a chair here. Now, when we set up here, what I want you to feel is I want you to feel some connection with your lead leg on that chair, all right? Now, this is a guideline, all right? What we don't want to have happen is as we go to the top of the swing, we don't want our center moving off that chair. Or we don't want our center pushing into that chair either, okay? So what we want to feel with this chair right here is we just want to feel that we're just riding that chair to the top, okay? So I'm still connected. I haven't done anything yet, okay? But my center has stayed centered, all right? And once again, go to the top. We're just going to ride it up to the top. Now, what happens on the way down? Well, we need to feel a little lateral movement, okay? A little weight shift. And that's what it is. It's a little. I don't want you to try to bump this chair over, but we're just going to move into it a little bit. And now we start to unwind or rotate down to the golf ball, all right? So from here, you can clearly see I picked this chair up a little bit, all right? So at impact, let's just get this back again. So we're going to ride it up, a little bump, start to rotate to impact. So at impact, you can clearly see that my hips are open a lot more than what they were at address, okay? Now, from here, I want you to continue to rotate till the trail leg gets on the chair also. Now, when you finish the golf swing, what we should be feeling is we should be feeling our upper body completely turn past the target and our hips a little bit past the target too, if we can get there, okay? So again, I'm talking a little bit about other parts of the body too, but the hips are the main focus, okay? So here we go again. Great drill. We're going to take this up. We're just going to ride the chair up. We're going to have a little shift. Now we start to rotate down to impact, and now we continue to go to our finish with our trail leg touching this chair too, all right? So if you guys want to get the correct feeling, this is a great way to do it. This is just a yard chair, whatever, okay? You can actually hit some balls with this eventually. I wouldn't recommend it right away. I'd recommend you go ahead and work on this drill a little bit. But again, when we look at what the hips do, we try to stay centered with the hips, let them rotate. We have a little lateral movement, and then there's more rotation through the golf shot. If you have any questions about this particular video or something going on in your game, guys, give me a shout. Let's get it scheduled. Let's get it worked out. Let's get it fixed. There's no time like the present. And as always, until next time, happy golfing. Enjoy life, guys. Peace.